Hello everybody and welcome back to another tier list video. This one is Who Wore It Best Volume 2, and this time we are looking at the Galarian Pokemon. We're going to be comparing them to what they look like originally, and if it's an improvement or it doesn't look as good, we'll rank based on that. It's a weird one because I can kind of go, yeah, we can rank it based on how they look, but like that just looks like it's in a vacuum. I think we need to see whether they get improved or be made worse by the fact they've got a new form. So let's get into it, shall we? Once I've reorganized this because this order doesn't make sense. I don't know who the crazy people are that set these lists up sometimes, but like when the evolutions aren't all together, it just makes me want to shoot things. Anyway, let's get started, shall we, with Galarian Meowth. I love the fact that Meowth got like two forms, or regional forms, in the two sets. Meowth is like an interesting one, because I think you look at Meowth and it's like, there's nothing like major about it, it's just a cat on two legs. So you can see the potential for like improvement everywhere. I think the addition of the absolute crazy look with the beard and stuff like that on the Galarian Meowth is a huge improvement. For me, gonna throw that straight into A tier. And the same with Berserker, it just improves on the already cool bearded look. It becomes Steel type as well. It's got the Barbarian look for it as well. I think it's a fantastic looking Pokemon, and we're gonna throw that into S tier because it's just Galarian Meowth, but even better, and it's already a fantastic looking Pokemon. Next up, Galarian Ponyta. I think, again, I do like the fire aesthetic of Ponyta, but I'm not really much of a horse person. I think as a... I'm going to have to admit this on the internet. A previous fan of My Little Pony. Galarian Ponyta actually looks really cool. I love the Candy Floss colours. The Candy Floss mane and the colours. It looks fantastic. I'm going to throw... Again, compared to original Ponyta, which is a horse on fire, which to me seems dangerous, I'm going to throw that into A tier. Galarian Rapidash, I like the unicorn aesthetic. That's absolutely fine. Again, it's keeping the cool colours and mane aesthetic of Galarian Ponyta, but it doesn't really look any better than Ponyta, if that makes sense. Again, I've said this with the Hisuian forms. I think the base forms look better, but quite often the evolutions don't improve or / look worse. It's still better than normal Rapidash, so I'm going to pop that into A tier. Galarian Weezing, what can you say? The dude's got stovepipe hats, and he's become any coal power station that you've ever seen. I used to live in a place called Rugeley that had a power station with like the whole, they used to call them like salt and pepper pots, like the whole like huge like heat chimneys that they used to use. It just reminds me of that, makes me very nostalgic. One of them's got a mustache, which makes it hard to trust, but the other one's got a beard. It's a cool look. It's going to be an S tier. It's hard to improve on Mr. Mime because he's already a scary little freak. Galarian Mr. Mime doesn't look better. Somehow they made his face more squished and weird looking. I don't like his pointy shoes, and the fact he's always like kind of waving like this upsets me spiritually, so I'm going to pop that into a D tier. Now I know what you're thinking, Mr. Rhyme probably isn't much better. I actually don't mind Mr. Rhyme. He's got a cool little tap dance going on. He does have a mustache, which makes him hard to trust. I don't know what's going on with the belly. The belly's got some kind of clowny red nose on it. Not really sure, but it is better than Mr. Mime, so I'm going to pop that into a C tier. It's fine. Now for a comment on pollution and global warming. Corsola is a very cool one because normal Corsola, pink and white, full of life, vibrant. It's a coral reef Pokemon. This is like showing what this becomes a ghost Pokemon, which is all white and stuff, and it's like very much symbolism. It's a big word of the day for like how the coral reefs are dying and turning our Pokemon into ghosts. Is probably how it works. Anyway, I don't know that it's a direct improvement over Corsola, but I like what it's doing. So I'm going to pop it into B tier because it's not an improvement, but it isn't worse. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Cursola, the evolved form, is a ghost Pokemon with like the reef expanding out of the corpse of the already... Because I don't really know what's going on with it, to be honest. Now that I'm looking at it a lot more, it does look like a ghost has burst out of a Corsola, which surely would still be the same Pokemon. I'm not sure. But it is a cool aesthetic. I do like it. It's just a bit... I don't understand it, if that makes sense. And if I don't understand something, it can only be a B tier. Sure, that's how that works, right? Okay, now for Galarian Zigzagoon. Again, when you have your Rattata equivalent for any generation, they're very plain looking. Rattata, you know, is normal purple rat. You got Zigzagoon, you got Sentra. They're all fairly plain, boring Pokemon that you can absolutely see improvements on. Throwing Kiss makeup on a Pokemon was never going to be a bad idea. I think it immediately puts Galarian Zigzagoon up to like A tier. And I'm not even going to explain it because Lanoon is similar. I don't think it maintains quite as cool vibe as Zigzagoon, but it's still, you know, enough of an improvement on Lanoon to become an A tier. Obstagoon is where it gets interesting because suddenly my dude's like this and ready to sing. Now, I don't know anyone who sings like this. I feel like that restricts your chest, restricts your vocals. I'm not sure how that works. But he's a very cool looking Pokemon. Is he S tier is the question. Is he actually better than Zigzagoon and Lanoon? In a way, I can see it. He looks like a punk rock brawler. Say what you will about the punk rock people, especially people that were into punk rock when it was a cool thing and still haven't moved on from it. There's definitely things you could say about them, but the aesthetic was never like the worst thing in the world. The Mohawk is probably like, you know, your biggest stereotypical thing, and I'm not sure he fully rocks what he needs to rock there. The Mohawk's not quite there. I think it's fair to say Obstagoon goes in A. Darumaka is really cool, and I have no problem with him at all. I don't have a problem with him becoming an Ice type. It's fine. It's fine. I just don't like what they've done here. It doesn't look as good as the original Darmanitan. To be honest, it is basically just a colour swap, and I think I'm just upset by the icicle eyebrows. It's not as bad as Mr. Mime though, so that's going to be into C tier.
Look how they mess with my boy.
Darmanitan, I don't like. Anything that becomes like extra rounded on top just looks a bit odd to me. The beard is a bit strange. I can't tell where its mouth is. I don't enjoy what they've done with this one. So this is going to be really interesting because I hate what they've done with that. That's fine. That can go into D tier. The Hex form, which is a snowman on fire, is huge. I love it. It gives me very Final Fantasy bomb aesthetics if they decided to put him into a cold place. He developed into a snowman because of it. It makes sense to me. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. I think I'm going to pop him into S tier. I know, how can you pop two different forms of the same Pokemon into D and S? It makes no sense, but here we are, and I'm doing it anyway.
Find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
I think Yamask is the safest B tier ever because it is literally the same Pokemon with a different bit at the bottom. It doesn't really change much. We're going to go with Rune Regis. Rune Regis looks quite cool. I love the fact that he like becomes a like stone tablet that then breaks out into a haunted like almost dragon looking thing. No dragon typing on it, but it looks quite cool. I quite like it. Is it anything special? It's hard to say. It is just it's Confagorous but different, isn't it? It's, yeah, I don't think it. If I was ranking it based on just its own aesthetic, I think I'd probably just chuck it into like B or C. But because we're going compared to the original form, I think the stone tablet, haunted stone tablet aesthetic looks cooler than the haunted coffin aesthetic. Does that make sense? We're going to throw it into A tier. Galarian Stunfisk, I really like. It goes from being just a normal flat mudfish, I guess it is, to an iron trap. Now, nothing is more metal than an iron trap. So we're going to throw that into A tier. That's cool. Galarian Farfetch'd, I think that's an easy one to say. It's also an A tier. I think it's a big improvement because it's gone from like its little wacky leak to a huge stay the F away from me. I'm going to use this to send you into the sun. It's a big improvement. It's an A tier. And the evolution Surfetch'd. My guy becomes a Lance Pokemon. The leek is a Lance. He's got a shield from somewhere. I don't think that's a leek leaf. I don't think leeks have leaves that big. But he looks awesome. He's ready as a knight. He's ready to destroy the planet. I don't think that's what Lancers do, but he's going to give it a good old go. Surfetch'd is into S tier. So that is your Who Wore It Best Galarian edition. In the D tier, we have Mr. Mime and Darmanitan. C tier, we have Mr. Rhyme and Darumaka. B, we have Corsola, Cursola, and Yamask. A, we have Meowth, Ponyta, Rapidash, Zigzagoon, Lanoon, Obstagoon, Confagorous, Stunfisk, and Farfetch'd. And S tier, we have Berserker, Galarian Weezing, Hex form, is it? I think it's Hex form. Hex form, Darmanitan, and Surfetch'd. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this video. We've got one more to go, which is the Alolan form. And then hopefully we'll have a fun one of these to do in, I don't know, November, December, when Scarlet and Violet come out. But until then, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, all my social media links are in the description below. Throw me a like, throw me a sub, all that good stuff, and we shall see you in the next one. See ya!